Hey, smash that thumbs up button if you're a fan of Pawn Stars. Join the notification squad by subscribing and hitting that bell notification on, but also, don't forget to comment down below saying I subscribed to enter our monthly shoutouts, and we'll make sure to reply and thank as many of you as we possibly can. Hope you enjoyed the video. One of the most familiar faces of History Channel is definitively Rick Harrison, the man behind the successful reality TV show Pawn Stars and the co-owner of the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas. Also known as The Spotter, Harrison is a self-made man that over the course of 15 seasons became a reality television celebrity. However, Harrison became a pawn star when he was young. He dropped out of high school during his sophomore year to pursue what seemed like a lucrative career in selling fake Gucci bags, as it brought him thousands of dollars on a weekly basis. Back in 1988, at the age of 23, he opened the store with the old man and has been successful ever since. Throughout the years in the pawn shop, he has polished his negotiation skills and has developed a unique and pleasant way of teaching customers and viewers alike about historical artifacts and other miscellaneous items that people bring to the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. Still, even though it may not seem like it on the show, Rick even has billionaires coming to the store as well due to the show's popularity and success, which comes from his honesty with the customers. Since Rick is running a highly successful business for so many years, the fact that he is worth an estimated $8 million should not come as a surprise, and, naturally, he owns numerous items that only the super rich can afford. As most fans of the show are very well aware of, all members of the Harrison family are car buffs, and Rick is no exception. The fame and money he reaped from the show and ridiculously good deals helped him acquire around 30 cars and motorcycles. At one point, he had so many vehicles in his collection that he actually had to sell his Plymouth Roadrunner and a 1955 Chevy. His personal car collection includes his first car, a 1973 Volkswagen Thing that he claims is bulletproof. Then there is a 1968 Mustang GT Fastback, 1968 Triumph, 1940 Indian Chief complete with a sidecar, 2 Harleys, some dirt bikes, and his favorite 1940 Chevy Special Deluxe. Still, all these cars parked on his estate are not enough for him, as he just cannot sit still, so at one point he started building a 1947 Power Wagon, which takes a lot of his spare time. Back in Season 8, Rick got his hands on a sweet 1961 Fender Stratocaster, one of the most iconic rock guitars in history, when a studio musician called Vic Flick came to the shop. While the man's name doesn't ring a bell, his work certainly does. It turned out that Vic played the guitar riff for the James Bond theme song on this exact guitar that he brought to the shop. Other familiar songs that the guitar was used in the recording of include Ringo's theme from the classic Beatles film A Hard Day's Night, so naturally, the guitar fascinated Rick from the get-go, as he recalled his early childhood memories of watching legendary Jimi Hendrix playing the iconic guitar. Also, the fact that the guitar model has not changed much since Leo Fender, the inventor, came up with it back in '54, only strengthened Rick's desire to get it. Rick and Flick struck a deal at $55,000 and shook hands, while the guitar's worth was estimated around $90,000 later on. As we've stated earlier, Rick is a car buff, so it's not surprising that in the 28th episode of Season 6, he just had to have that custom jet black 500 horsepower 1932 Ford Roadster. Obviously, such an old vehicle is rarely found in such impeccable condition, and with only 450 miles under its tires, Rick did not waste time to start negotiations. However, this could not have gone without Rick's expert buddy, so Danny the Count Coker, Vegas custom car legend of Counting Cars, another reality TV show that is a spin-off of Pawn Stars, was called in. The Count fell in love with the car as much as Rick did, so he gave Rick the green light, appraising the car around $70,000 to $75,000. As all fans of the show know, Rick would not be Rick if he didn't try to lower the price, so after some intense negotiations with the owner, Rick got himself this pretty cool ride for $68,250. Apparently, Rick has a soft spot for guitars, just like he has it for cars. In the episode titled Pawtucket Derby, a man brought in a 1961 Gibson SG Les Paul custom guitar to the pawn shop, saying that it belonged to his Aunt Mary. Upon Corey's inquiry about Aunt Mary, the man revealed that she was Mary Ford, an American vocalist and guitarist, who was also the wife of legendary guitarist Les Paul. As a husband and wife musical team, Les Paul and Mary Ford co-wrote numerous hits, including How High the Moon, Lady of Spain, and I'm Sitting on Top of the World, and many of those hit songs were played on the very guitar that was sitting in front of Rick. The model of the guitar was already rare, but the fact that it was directly connected to Les Paul and that there was so much history behind this guitar in particular made it even more valuable. Even though the owner was asking for $250,000 for the guitar, Rick managed to negotiate the price down to $90,000 and snapped this piece that changed rock music for himself. Sometimes, when someone walks into the pawn shop looking to sell something, they have absolutely no clue if their item is worth anything at all. In the episode called Close But No Cigar, a man brought in a John F. Kennedy cigar box with the remaining 8 unsmoked cigars still stashed inside. Apparently, JFK owned the cigar box while he was in the White House between 1961 and 1963. Considering that Press Secretary Pierre Salinger bought 1,200 cigars for JFK the day before the signing of Cuban embargo, the seller was hoping to get $95,000 for it, unsure how low he was willing to go. Naturally, Rick recognized the value of the item, well aware that it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, as much of JFK's personal belongings are considered high value. Eventually, Rick managed to haggle the price down to $60,000. Considering that a similar JFK cigar box sold for $575,000 back in '96, Rick definitely got himself an item that only the super rich can afford at ridiculously low price. Almost everyone knows that Rick is, among other things, an avid reader, so the fact that he tries to get his hands on rare books as much as possible shouldn't be surprising. In episode 22 from season 10, a man named Adam brought an incredibly valuable 5th edition of the Book of Mormon printed in 1842. Since it's the last edition printed while Joseph Smith, the founder of the religion, was still alive, the item was extremely valuable. Seeing as the book represents a unique piece of history that isn't significant only to Mormons who started the westward expansion of the United States, Rick called a rare book expert Rebecca to appraise it. As soon as she saw the item, she told Rick that it is the most valuable book she appraised for him. However, Adam's fair price was beaten down by $1,000 during negotiation with Rick. Considering that approximately fewer than 500 of those books remain today and their collection value, there's no doubt that Rick made a big score. When a man stumbled upon a rather peculiar gold bar when he was cleaning the attic, he had no idea how valuable it is, so he brought it to the gold and silver pawn shop to have it appraised. Rick's sixth sense immediately went off as he realized that the seller was offering a gold bar that came from the shipwreck ages ago, but he decided to bring in an expert just to be sure. The expert recognized the stamps on the gold bar that dated back to 1500s and concluded that the gold bar was definitely a shipwreck treasure from a Spanish ship that was destroyed in a storm while delivering gold and silver through the Gulf of Mexico. Even though Rick had bought gold from people every day, he never had a gold bar from the shipwreck walk into his shop, and naturally, he just had to get it. When the guys from Pawn Stars buy cars, they're usually old-timers and classics. However, there was an exception to this rule when a man brought Rick a 2014 Hertz Penske GT Mustang, one of the first 10 ever built. Back in 2013, Hertz, a car rental company, made a partnership with American business mogul Roger Penske, the owner of IndyCar and NASCAR team, to create a limited edition of 4 GT Mustangs. There were only 150 models ever made, and seeing one of those extremely rare rides hit Rick in one of his soft spots. In order to make sure it ran smoothly, Rick asked professional NASCAR driver Joey Logano to take it for a test drive. The professional driver stated that everything worked perfectly, much to Rick's joy, and the deal was struck for $60,000. Admittedly, a great number of guitarists has seen the counter of the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop, but not all of them had extraordinary value or impressive history. However, in this book we have another guitar that had Rick and the rest of the staff drooling. When a guitar is owned by a noteworthy name, its value can only increase over the years, provided it's in good condition. That was the case when a man brought in a piece of rock and roll history in the form of 1941 Gibson SJ200 that belonged to rock legend Stephen Stills of the folk rock group Crosby, Stills & Nash. The man that brought the guitar also had a bill of sale signed by Stephen Stills himself, which took the sale to a whole new level as Rick instantly appreciated the item. Rick was so interested in having that particular guitar in his collection that he readily made a deal for $85,000. In addition to cars, guitars, and guns, Rick is also a collector of sports memorabilia, and when a New England Patriots player came into the pawn shop, Rick bought the 2004 Super Bowl ring off of him. Back in 2001, New England Patriots won the game against St. Louis Rams 20-17. Every year, the members of the winning team receive a trophy ring. For whatever the reason, rookie Patriot Brock Williams had to pawn his diamond-encrusted ring and never came back for it, which means it became Rick's after Rick visited 120 days. This is definitely one of more interesting and valuable items in Rick's collection, since he stated that he has no plans of parting with it, unless someone offers a crazy amount of $100,000, that is.
It's on sale at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop for only $100,000.
Thank you for checking this video out, and don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe for new videos every day. Turn that bell notification on and comment down below that you subscribed, and we'll make sure to reply and thank as many of you as we possibly can. Once again, thank you for watching and see you next time.